So go
Mm.
ahead, Miss Patricia. Go ahead.
All right. Return to center. Address is known. So welcome to this session, Return to Center, Simple Strategies to Navigate Distress, Depression, and Disconnection. Who hasn't had moments of those? And I'm going to show us a slide deck. I've got a number of questions that have been sent to me to answer at the end of what we are doing. So today's session will go quicker than if we had more time and we're in a regular workshop that I would do. So sort of put on your seat belts and away we go. This session is based on Return to Center, the book that garnered me the Canadian Counseling Book Award. So it's a national award that I won. And it was inspired by the polyvagal theory, which you are going to learn about. So let me just get myself geared up here. And away we will go. There. So return to center began with a course I took on the polyvagal theory, and I took it 3 times. Then I went and spent time with the trainer. You'll see a picture of her. I struggled and I struggled to understand this theory. I even bought the originator, Stephen Porges's book, and I didn't get past page 13 or 17, I don't think. Anyway, I took the basis of his insights and started working with clients. And about 35 clients later, I decided I would just use my own language and my own past knowing of how to help people manage stress and heal trauma. And I was eventually encouraged to put it in book form, and I'm so glad I did. You'll get more information later about how to access it. And yes, it's on Amazon. So here we go. This is Dr. Stephen Porges, who is the researcher, and he's still offering all kinds of insights. He's continuing to research, and this polyvagal theory has been reviewed many, many times. It gives us a different lens to look at managing the stress, the acceleration, or the collapse that's happening internally in us, particularly in our nervous system. We are nervous system beings. Porges says, when we're in safe states, we can access higher cortical functions. When we're in danger states, those systems turn off and we're defensive. What is the polyvagal theory? It emphasizes the role the autonomic nervous system, especially the vagus nerve, plays in regulating our health and our behavior. So when you take a look at health and behavior, that also affects our work, our relationships, and our overall well-being. I took training from Deb Dana several times. She's written a number of books. These are 2 of them that I studied. She's got a recent one out that is a workbook based on the polyvagal theory. And to her credit, she understands the polyvagal theory and has made it accessible to therapists. My book tends to be more of a self-help book and has made it more accessible to the general public. This is Deb Dana. That's me. I've lost a little weight. I hope you notice. I'm kind of proud of that. Some people need to put on weight because they're kind of gaunt, and other people need to lose a little to be at optimum health. Deb Dana's in the middle, and her assistant is well, depends on what screen you're looking at. Anyway, on the other side of me. Yes, I've already mentioned winner of the Canadian Counseling and Psychotherapy Association's Counseling Book Award. This association I've been a member of since 1997 and has over 15,000 members across Canada, helping people in their careers, in their healing, in their managing their disabilities, and much more. So we have few people on Zoom, but if you're on there, just put your hand up if you can. One, as if you put your fist up, that means you don't know anything about the polyvagal theory. And then you've got a choice of one finger, two fingers, three fingers, four fingers, etc. So I'm just going to take a look at the screen, see what I can see. And yeah, okay. Let me just, hello, Gabrielle. Just so glad to see you. All right. Put your fingers up again, Gabrielle. Oh, wonderful. Wow. Lots of learning going to come your way. All right. It's interesting, Manisha. I can only see Gabrielle in the screen, but that's okay. I'm going to roll along. Thanks for sharing, Gabrielle. Gabriella. Appreciate it. Okay. So what do you want to take away from this session? We're going to skip that because I believe most people are on Facebook and I cannot see them. So I want to just share the benefits of understanding the polyvagal theory. It helps provide psychological safety. It supports skills to self-regulate and co-regulate. It minimizes guilt. It provides improvement for the vagal tone, and that equals improved health. It provides insight into trauma and stress responses. I'm going to provide a quick lesson on the autonomic nervous system, the terminology. So here we have the nervous system through the body, and we have the prefrontal cortex that helps us connect with other people. We need this prefrontal cortex that was developed as humans to problem solve, to connect with others, to be grounded, to be present in the moment. And then we have two little almond-shaped substances in the back of our brain called the amygdala, which is the simplest way to think about it, is a fire alarm in our brain that alerts all of the muscles, the nervous system, the organs to get alert because we are in danger. Deb Dana says the ability to respond to and recover from the challenges of daily living is a marker of well-being and depends on the actions of the autonomic nervous system. And that amygdala is the firing up of that nervous system. And it goes through the vagus nerve. And this vagus nerve, which I hadn't heard about before, is key to our well-being. We want what's called vagus tone, means that it's in good shape because the amygdala, if it triggers the vagus nerve too often, can wear it out. You can see it goes through all the organs. It affects our breathing all the way down to, whether, I don't know about you, but I've had moments of constipation or the opposite, diarrhea. Uh-oh. So where'd the amygdala go? There it is. There. It's like, and it's if it fires, it says you're in danger. Interestingly enough, a thought can activate the amygdala, the same as a bear chasing you. If you have catastrophizing thoughts, it's catastrophizing you as much as if a bear was chasing you. So we need to pay attention to our thoughts. They are key for us putting ourselves into a sense of calm, safety, problem solving, and connecting with others. If you're chasing away from a bear, you're not worrying too much about kissing somebody in that moment, right? So the amygdala goes off, and then we get scared of the amygdala going off, and we don't pay attention to the thoughts. It gets bigger and bigger and dumps these chemicals, adrenaline, these hormones, adrenaline, cortisol. And then those go all through our blood system, helping us even more. You may have heard of the petite mother who found a car had fallen on her child, and this petite woman was able to lift a car because she was so activated. Her muscles, everything was at peak. And then we have these responses, just like that woman that I described. She was in terror about her son when she was able to lift that car. So the responses are about survival reactions activated by that amygdala. And we have the fight, the flee, and the collapse, which we have talked about in stress management for years. Porges came along and gave us a different lens, which we'll be exploring. So this amygdala is in all animals. Here we understand with the rabbit, many animals that are prey, we understand these responses of danger. So the rabbit senses danger, and it may turn around and try to fight like this. But if that doesn't work, it will flee, run. And if that doesn't work, that rabbit will collapse and play dead and hope that the predator will give up the chase. And we still have that old brain, sometimes called the reptilian brain, old brain, that basically does very, very similar responses. However, we developed another way to feel safe, we humans, and that is to be in social engagement. That is to be connected to others, supported by others. This is why it's so painful when relationships don't work out. It just explains it so beautifully that how we often get into a panic or we collapse in hopelessness because we have evolved to have this sense that when we're connected, all is well. This has been proven over and over again, the social connection. And it's so important for us to learn relationship repair when we have distance or disconnection in those moments. Emotional regulation has to do with controlling our attention, logically assessing the activation of that amygdala, and managing the nervous system stress or danger response. We need to learn to talk to our amygdala because we know that there's not a bear chasing us. Now, a bear may have chased us when we were 10, 15, 25, and we have not calmed down the whole nervous system to know differently. There's an example of a man who got chased by a bear, and if he saw a teddy bear at somebody's house, he would get activated. His amygdala would say, "You're in danger." And he had to reprogram his neurons to tell a different story. Co-regulation is a process whereby individuals learn to soothe their nervous system stress responses with the support of another person. Now, this is expected of parents. Parents are expected to stay in their prefrontal cortex when their 3-year-old or their 4-year-old has a temper tantrum. But we know that some parents aren't able to do that. They have not developed the ability to emotionally regulate themselves. And then we're in trouble, and so is the child in trouble. That co-regulation can also happen as an adult to learn the skills of emotional regulation. So as a therapist, oftentimes my job is to stay emotionally regulated myself and welcome co-regulation of the other person. So if you are watching this session to pick up tips on how to support other people, you will get some really excellent ideas of strategies to be present. First, have to be present for yourself, to be present for others. So I'm inviting you to put your feet on the floor, and I'm going to invite you to notice your nervous system. You need to keep your eyes open, but I want you to watch a couple breaths, inhale and slow exhale. We bring ourselves to calm when we're able to witness the inhale and the longer exhale. And I'm going to show you a series of photos. And I just want you to notice what happens internally, all the way from maybe eyes squinting to jaw tightening to breath quickening to heart rate increasing to hands tensing to stomach tightening and maybe even down to curled up toes or an opening an opening to the image you see, or a leaning forward to the image you see, or an urge to back away from the image you see. You ready? Okay. So I hope you were able to notice some activation of either a signal of safety for you or a signal of danger for you. Just a touch of it, just a flavor to get a sense of paying attention to your nervous system. So Dr. Stephen Porges says there is no such thing as a bad response. There are only adaptive responses. But we end up having responses to all kinds of aspects of our life based on a history of safe environments or ones that did not meet our needs, and we translate as we are in danger. Emotional danger can be as significant as physical danger. I am going to ask you, if you don't already have a piece of paper and a writing tool in front of you, to please do so. Just take a moment, 30 seconds maybe. Grab a piece of paper, a writing tool, because we're going to move into doing a little exercise that will deepen this understanding of the amygdala signal of, yes, you're safe, or no, you're in danger. All right. So this is pretty common to know and be aware of, that being aware puts us at choice. When we're operating out of unconscious habits and patterns, we don't have choice. We're just in that rut. But once we become aware, we can be at choice and make a change if we so desire. We can change our thoughts, we can change our emotions. By the way, we typically change our emotions by first changing our thoughts, particularly our beliefs. And then once we are aware of the thoughts, beliefs, emotions, we can change our behavior. I want you to think about how you're going to apply what we just did, noticing your autonomic nervous system. And I also want you to notice how you might apply what we're going to do next. So application is important. Once we're aware, then we're choice, right? That's the part that's application. On that piece of paper, you're going to identify signals of emotional danger. That when certain aspects of life come up, the amygdala is getting a message of emotional or physical danger. So let's go through. It's quite a list. I will go through fairly quickly, and you will write down what you can. So some people have one or two on their list and other people have much more. Who's that person that if you knew they were at a party, you might avoid going to the party? Who's that person perhaps at work that you avoid? Is there a person in your past that if you bumped into them in a store, you would maybe decide to turn around and out of the store? Who's that person? There's usually a person. If there's more people, you write down those people. It's well worth having a sense of the people that are in danger. Animals. Isn't this interesting? For some people, a dog is a signal of safety. And for others, a dog is a signal of danger. I have a client that a cat is a signal of danger. Her whole body goes backwards. We have a cat. She saw the cat and she went backwards and she actually ran out of the room. Whoa. Places. Are there places? Barns, sheds. Some people, a car. I had a client who would not get into any vehicle, none. Had anxiety attacks once got in a car. So rode everywhere in a bicycle all year long. Topics. Are there certain topics that, oh, politics is very, very triggering right now. You can see people move out of connection, logical thinking, right into a stress response. So politics right now is kind of a very sensitive subject. Thoughts? What thoughts? Do thoughts such as, I am stupid, I'm inadequate, I can't do this, nobody's there to care for me, everybody's out to get me. Have you got thoughts that trigger the nervous system? Certain words. So we have an adopted daughter and foster home, and the word residence, she lived in a residence at one time, are trigger words for her. Right? She'll cry or she'll get up and leave the conversation. So words can have a lot of meaning. Now, you may not understand why somebody says I gotta leave or tells you to, F off, uh, because you've touched accidentally, not intentional, a tender spot. Touch. It is estimated that 1 out of 6 women has experienced unwelcome touch or sexual abuse. So you ask before you give a hug or touch in certain ways. Oh, is that a trigger for you? Smell. Smells can bring back memories very distinctly. Be careful about smells. Sounds. I have a client right now that was in a big accident, and whenever somebody yells, he ducks, he hides, because that sound triggers the amygdala. Certain activities. You may be asked to do an activity. Our daughter will not touch raw meat. That just triggers her. And I don't know the story. Someday maybe it will surface for her to understand. Fierce eyes are very common. Often children have had fierce eyes from parents come at them. And then as an adult, if eyes come fiercely at them or face like this, it's big trigger. Yeah, I did the facial expression plus the eyes, didn't I? Right. Hand and body gestures. Oh, you know the one in traffic. Whoa. Yeah, that can trigger people. And there may be others. So it's really useful and healthy. These are often called triggers. I just said that word triggers, didn't I? Triggers, emotional danger cues. They're cues that I'm in danger. And often it is past danger. Right? There are in the moment true dangers. For example, if I smell smoke, I'm going to allow my prefrontal cortex to go offline. If I'm with somebody, even if I'm with a client, I will say, I've got to go. And I'll check, is their house burning down? So these are all survival cues and danger cues. And they're important. We don't want to get rid of them, but we want to ask them, is it true in the moment? That's why we need to bring the prefrontal cortex back for just a moment to check. Is that accurate? And I hope you're seeing how this is aligned with anxiety attacks, anger responses, and collapsing depression. So then, if you were working with me, we would take a look at how do we minimize and manage these cues of danger. We'd also make a list and identify signals of emotional safety. And these are important. They give us vagal tone. They strengthen our well-being. So guess what? Bezelandrikov said, being able to feel safe with other people is probably the single most important aspect of mental health. Safe connections are fundamental to meaningful and satisfying lives. So guess what? The first signal of emotional safety that is impactful for us is to be connected to emotionally safe people. Last month, Manisha and I offered psychological safety. Psychological safety matters. That's what we offered last month, and picking up on all the cues for a psychologically safe space or environment or workplace or home life. So the persons that you surround yourself with. And that's not to mean that you might not spend, it doesn't mean that you might not spend time with people who don't know how to emotionally regulate, but you need to tell yourself, yes, I can emotionally regulate. This person hasn't developed that capacity yet. But for your own well-being, you also want in your circle people that you know are pretty reliable about emotional regulation. Animals. So if the dog is a comfort to you, do you have that pet in your space? So I'm just going to go through this quickly. Again, it's places, topics. What topics do you love to talk about? I love talking about professional speaking, and I love talking about healing and trauma, believe it or not. And I love talking about my beloved family and friends. Thoughts, words, touch. Oh, my hubby and I have the best hugs. Smells, lavender is one of my favorite, and cooking. The smell of my husband cooking just delights me. Sounds. Oh, some of you have your favorite playlist. Please look at your playlist. Are you listening to sounds that nourish you? Activities. I know that Gabrielle goes out into the mountains, and that strengthens her well-being. Look for people with soft eyes and give soft eyes yourself. Facial expressions. Smiling says you're safe with me. There are some smiles that say the opposite. We won't get into the science of that right now. And hand and body gestures, are they open or are they closed? And others, increase how your job is to increase and deepen these accessible ways of well-being. Okay. Another idea for you on your piece of paper would be to pair up. If, for example, you have a fear of dogs that's quite irrational, and you have a friend you trust who's got a little dog, you might pair them up and just say, could you help me just slowly connect and touch your little Shih Tzu? I think that's a weird name, don't you? Shih Tzu? Whoever came up with that name for a dog, and we've got a next door neighbor, Walter, who's a Shih Tzu, and he's just a delight. So, can you pair them up so that one might wear you out? Another way to think about it is if you have to go and be with somebody that pulls out the energy for you and your amygdala fires and says you're in emotional danger, do you have another person in your life that you could plan to see or spend some time with, even make a phone call, so that you're pairing up these responses to bring yourself what I call return to center. Return to center. Okay? So think about how you're going to put an application, take action using this awareness. This is a basic awareness of the autonomic nervous system. And how might you put it into action? I'd love it if you emailed me and told me what you discovered around your triggers and cues of emotional danger and emotional safety, and how you've, put it into action. Okay, so you want to know your nervous system state and others. And once you have this basic understanding, there's only really three that we break down here, and those three can help you better manage yourself, bring yourself back to center, and help others come back to center. They're pretty recognizable once you know them. So Deb Dana says the flexible nervous system is a resilient system. And it's based on energy. We can put it, many people call themselves energy workers, and energy workers work with these states. They may not identify them that way. It's interesting, I find, that the whole world of psychology, healing, inner child work, trauma work brings structure to what goes on internally, brings structure to our thoughts, our emotions, our nervous system reactions, our stress responses. So I call this state high, mobilized, energized, charged state. I call it the charged state. A lot of energy. So you see this in anxiety attacks, people that have anger management issues. The centered state is kind of like a flow, relaxed, present, calm. We have time, all is well. And then the give up state is empty, low, depressed, like moving through molasses. In my book, yep, here it is again, use the car as an analogy. So we've got the charge state, speeding, 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 and can do great harm to self and others. And then we've got the give up state that can end up all alone in the ditch. And is it going to survive? Is it going to get back on the road? And we have to do two different strategies or clusters of strategies to bring the car back to center, back to the center of the lane. So the charge state, you can see that, charging, charge state. So this is a little exercise. I will send you I'll send you a workbook to do this if you don't want to buy the book. These exercises are in Return to Center. So I'm going to quickly go through these exercises. A longer workshop with me, we would actually do them. So you would identify an event, an issue that happened, and you would describe with whom, when, and where. You would write down one or more feelings. So the charge state has got all these angry, agitated, anxious, very high energy, nervous, overwhelmed states to them. So you can see the high energy. And there's a story that we tell. And the story we tell in the charge state is that the world and people are unsafe. I can't trust. And we blame other people because they're not trustworthy. And we sometimes, use swear words. We're totally often, if it's too far, if it's too charged, we're out of control. And for me, I call this right fighting Pat. I can find myself in that right fighter mindset, fighting, defending, arguing. Oh my goodness. I didn't think I was a right fighter. And one day I discovered I definitely was. And the charge state, the hands, the body language, the facial expressions in this state, what are they? You know that. I hope that modeled pretty well for you. So what do we do with the charge state? How do we return to center? We slow it down. It's like putting the brakes on the car. We slow it down. And I'm going to share with you some ways to slow it down. Do deep breathing. Feel your feet on the floor. Do deep breathing. Breathe in 4, hold for 4. Let me see. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4. breathe out for 4, in 4. I just say, and then there's 4, 7, 8. Breathe in for 4, hold for 7, breathe out for 8, and repeat. Okay. What's really important is that the exhale is slower than the inhale, typically. The box breathing 4-4-4, I don't use much, but I sure use feel your feet on the floor. Breathe in, notice the hold, and a long exhale. And if a sound comes out, that's okay too. Progressive muscle relaxation or body scan. Another time we could do this. We could go through a progressive muscle relaxation or body scan. On my YouTube channel, I have several guided relaxation processes, and one of them is progressive muscle relaxation. And you just Google Patricia Morgan Resilience YouTube, and you should find the YouTube channel. Grounding, a really easy one is name 3 colors you see. Name 2 sounds you hear. Name 1 item or texture that you can touch. And it just brings you returning to center and being in the present moment. Here are some more ideas. Safe connection. Make soft eye contact and or look for soft eye contact. Gentle touch. And that reduces, that tells the amygdala, I'm safe. There's somebody here. I can touch them. I can feel them. Rhythmic movement, slow it down. Do a slow rocking or yoga or gentle stretching. And mindful, get out in nature. Nature is the nature pill. 20 minutes in nature can bring cortisol levels down significantly. The give up state. This is a scary state, very scary. You feel all alone in the world, like nobody's there, empty houses. So think about an event or a time that you named it hopeless, depressed, no point. Yeah. So what happened, when and where? Just give the details best you can. And then name the feelings. Did you feel alone or lonely? Lots of research on loneliness. 10-year study by Julianne Holt Lunstead said that loneliness was as detrimental to our well-being as a pack of cigarettes a day for I forget how long. So you're depleted, you're exhausted, you're hopeless, often numb. And this is where suicide lives, and we need to take it very seriously. The quiet person is the person that we also need to pay attention to. The quiet child that doesn't speak up needs attention because they may be in despair. The person, the child, the youth with eyes down, not making contact is of concern. And the story is of despair. Despair, like wanting to give up. And the give up state, when I'm there, I call myself poor little Patsy. This helps me identify what state I'm in to give myself a name, and then it helps me to bring back my prefrontal cortex to come up with a solution. And the hands, the body, the language, I'm moving away from you and I'm collapsing. It's that space of whatever, I give up, whatever you want, I don't matter. I'm a victim actually here. Okay? All right. So we want to add gentle energy. We don't want to smash ourselves into giving ourselves gas and fuel. We want to pour it in gently. So here are some ways to do that. my number one recommendation is to have a piece of paper because you can't think straight when you're in that state. Have a piece of paper or in your journal or in your cell phone, 3 names of emotionally safe people. Oh, please do not copy these phone numbers because I just made them up. I just made them up for this session. And so if you call them, you might be calling somebody's Aunt Ethel who doesn't really welcome your call. Okay. But the 2 numbers at the bottom, if you don't have, if you're one of those people on, and reach out, please. If you don't have 3 people that you consider emotionally safe, then please write down. If you're in Calgary an area, there's the Calgary distress number. That is a real number. And the suicide crisis helpline, that's a real number. It's a Canadian number. Everybody, in my opinion, should have 988 in their phone. 988 in their phone. And if you happen to be having a conversation with somebody and you discern that that number is needed, then it's handy. Okay? Let's be good citizens and demonstrate kindness by being prepared. And do anything to move, wiggle, stretch, walk, do anything. The last place a depressed or person in hopelessness should stay is in bed. It's do something to move. Play music that pleases you. Watch TV. Any pleasing sound. And if you've got a beautiful back garden, go there. Or if you've got a park nearby, if you can get yourself there. This is very hard to move when you're in this shut down state. And some other ideas are, get yourself up. If you'd love to do something, create something, cook or journal or scribble. You could sing to yourself, lullaby, lullaby, right? I'm trying to think of the lyrics to that. Da da da. Maybe somebody will remind me. Um, a really quick little tip is to go to the freezer and pick up an ice cube. The temperature will shock your nervous system to say what's going on. It's just a little wake up touch. Get a facial, a massage. Put your hand on your heart. A really cool little trick is take all your fingers, put them under your armpit, and rest your palm on your heart and try to feel your heart. It'll remind you this heart is ticking. You've got a heart. Your heart's beating. There's many, many metaphors. And butterfly hug. This is used with people and children all over the world. It mimics the rocking of the mother of the baby. And we all, no matter what our age, need to know we are loved. And it may be that you are the one that your little heart is waiting for. Oh, give yourself a butterfly hug. Okay. So where is your home away from home? Does it tend to be the charge state, that very hard charge state, and you think that's who you are? Or is it the give up state where you think that's where you are, just sort of a pitiful person, like labeling yourself that way? And I do want to mention right here that it's not that we're always in the centered state. We need a little charge when we get on a roller coaster. We need a little bit of a charge if there's a car tearing at us. We need to have those antennae that we're not safe. And we also need times where we give up. Give up on a friendship that's not healthy for us. Give up on a job, right? That's not good for us. So we hang on and hang on and hang on, and we get lower and lower and lower and depressed. And then there's a time to say prefrontal cortex, get a little window of prefrontal cortex to say what's going on here. And yes, there's a time to give up to then be able to return to center. Okay, so it's not that we're always in the centered state. That's not what we're aiming for. The trick is to have skills to return to center. We will all get signals of danger, and we will all get triggered. The difference is in relationships and in our own lives is the ability to return to center. Now I'm going to go through the centered state very quickly as we're to end in about 15 minutes. Here we're in the centered lane, centered state. Write down your piece of paper. An event or situation you handled really well. I handled it really well. This is a really good memory to anchor in your memory bank. Even make a collage of this event. Take it to bed with you. Dream on it to strengthen the vagus nerve. And these are all the beautiful feelings in the centered state: accepting, at ease, awesome, calm, capable, courageous, peaceful, relaxed, zoned in, all those beautiful words. Thoughts are about possibilities, with clarity, with creativity, with curiosity. I'm okay and you're okay. No blaming here. Oh, by the way, in the collapse give up state, it's all me. I'm a poop. It's all my fault. Yeah. This centered state is I'm okay and you're okay. I'm worthy and so are you. Beautiful. And what do I call myself? You don't have to, you call yourself whatever supports you and your best self, your best wise self. And I call myself wise adult self. It's the self of me. I come back to myself when I come back to center. And the hands and the body and the language, facial expressions in this state are like this. Get my hands in here. Okay. The Viktor Frankl said between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response lies our growth and freedom. And he is describing return to center. You get triggered, feel your feet on the ground, do something to bring yourself to the present moment so you can return to center. And I've given you a whole bunch of ways to return to center, more than just feeling your feet and taking the breath, from the charge state and the give up state. Right? Remember that list? Yeah. Okay. Strengthen the centered state. Again, I'm going to go quickly. Hum, chant, sing, toning all this. Oh, I love her. I just love her. I put her in just about every presentation I do. Hello, darling. Play, laugh, hug. Yes. Gargle water to stimulate the vagus nerve of the throat. Remember, the vagus nerve goes all through the body from the back of the neck. Mindfully eat. Get social. Get social. Have as many friends and connections as possible. And classic, the yoga, Tai Chi, and breath work. And if calm is challenging for you, if the self doesn't get to a point of competency of managing your nervous system, we're human beings. We've talked over and over about connection. Put your hand up, ask for help, okay? It's okay. It's why we're here. We're human beings, not marbles. So notice with curiosity and compassion, self-compassion and compassion for others. And how do you welcome others to return to center if they are in the charge state or if they're in the give up state? Here are some ideas. Deborah Dana says the autonomic nervous system both sends and searches. It searches for safety or danger. Are you going to be one of those spots or give off a cue of safety or danger? And there's some tips to do that. And she's actually talking to therapists here. Our work is to stay tuned into the autonomic conversation, meaning we notice these responses of danger particularly. And we also notice signals of calm and safety and build on them. So first way is to model that ability. Like I'll often say, whoops, I just lost it there. Let me just take a breath and I'll get back to return to my center so I can be present with the client. Eyes say a lot. So looking typically not deep into the eyes, but just around the eye area and looking away now and then. There are people that have been so badly wounded that looking directly at them triggers a signal of danger. Hearing, listening is very, very important. Listen. Ah, I hear it's a challenge. Prosody. Prosody is a soothing tone as if you're speaking to a baby. I imagine myself speaking to the amygdala like I'm soothing it, like I'm soothing. Yeah, hard stuff. And vocal outbursts, they let the listen, if the person is able to listen, gives the message you're listening. And it's pretty easy. It sounds like this. Ah, oh, ah, ouch. Oh gosh. Oh, you just kind of match the state. If somebody's in the charge side, you go, yeah, right, yeah, right, right. And they get some sense that you're with them. And with the give up state, I get really, really soft. Oh my goodness. I'm here. I know. It's only been 5 minutes. We've been on this Zoom call. It's been hard. Did you manage to get here? Just know I'm available. I'm available. Okay? It's okay for you to hang up. It's all right. So that's how I talk. But I've got this flexible nervous system, hopefully. So talking about, straight on with the eyes can sometimes feel invasive for some people. But yeah, like animals, when they are giving you a signal that they're dangerous, that this dog is dangerous, like don't go near it. Notice the eyes straight on, the barred teeth, like this, right? Tilt, tilt the head. Tilt the head. I do a lot. I get cricks in my neck sometimes. I tilt my head, especially if somebody is feeling, get me off here. So you see, pets do the same thing. They tilt just a little to say, I'm friendly. Meet the person where they're at. As I said, if somebody's in the charge state, I'll be more energetic and see if I can slowly, the two of us, come down. Yeah, breath would be really good, wouldn't it? Yeah, yeah, the breath. Yes. Another one. Okay. Now we're connected. Now we're co-regulating. And with the give up state, and I start to add a little energy. Okay, I see a smile. I do. I see a smile. Yeah, okay. Yeah, there we go. All right. So think about how you might apply some of these ideas. Okay. If we had time, we would just share with one another. Now, I got sent a whack of questions, and I'm starting to think, Manisha, we just need to make maybe a session now and then where we just answer questions because there were a lot of questions that got sent to me. And, I got like, here we go. So, how in the midst of a situation can I look after myself? Is there a technique? I think I've given a few options, and I think this question was related to the nervous system activation. So I put yes, question mark. If I did not answer your question, please email me. I will provide you with the email in a minute. How does the polyvagal theory help deal with stress, depression, and anxiety? I believe I've done an adequate job. Again, please email me if you believe that I can be of more help or clarity. How do you regulate your nervous system on a day-to-day basis? Well, I use most of what I just shared with you. Hope you find it useful. How do you respond without putting yourself at greater risk of bullying? This sounds like a situation of a person either at home or at work who is not psychologically safe. There are strategies for handling bullying, and I forgot to add Valerie K. I did come up with some answers: set boundaries calmly, use assertiveness communication, seek support from trusted colleagues. There's a book called Bully Free at Work. If it's at work, get Valerie Cade's book, Bully Free at Work. Also start recording. Record all the incidents. the time of day, the day, and exactly what was said or done that you believe is bullying. Also, get real clear about what bullying is. I worked with somebody who discovered that their manager actually had an anger management issue, a very easily activated nervous system, and was not an intentional bully. So get clear about bullying. On my website, there are some articles about bullying. There's even, are you really being abused? For some people that say, yeah, I'm being bullied, I'm being abused. So get clear with your definitions. What can we, how can we detect microaggressions in the workplace? And what are some of the steps we can take to create a safe space? So, first of all, again, know what you're talking about. So, what is a microaggression? It's a statement, action, or incident regarded as an instance of indirect, subtle, or unintentional discrimination against members of a marginalized group, such as a racial or ethnic minority. So, is what you're asking about a microaggression? So, again, know what your definitions are. Some ideas are listen for subtle cues of belittling, stereotyping, um, criticism that comes your way that's unwarranted, that is not deserving. Uh, Create psychological safety where people feel safe to voice. So, how do you do that if you're not the manager boss? You do that by inviting your coworkers out for lunch or going for a quick walk break, and you create a subgroup that's psychologically safe. I've helped a couple people change the atmosphere of their workplace, and a couple of them I've helped them go to upper management or the board of directors to have leadership replaced. There are ways, and you always have the option of leaving. Set clear boundaries and get educated, promote respect, establish, again, be the role model. And if you've got any influence on policies, make sure that they are inclusive and that people are held accountable for their job description and nothing more but nothing less. So somebody asked this one, I work with seniors and would like to know how to best help them to cope with change. Again, going through the polyvagal theory philosophy or lens, I think I've given you a few ideas, but here are some more. With older people, be patient. Believe it or not, there are some older people that are quite perky. I'm 78. I'm doing quite well. Check out those people because they may help assist with other people. Understand that change can be change for anybody can be overwhelming. So listening and acknowledging is important. And when I ask for help, I say, I'm older, go slow, make it simple. I'm wearing hearing aids. 2/3 of us over 70 have hearing loss. And visuals help me. Like if somebody shows me, I get it much faster, understand much faster. And connection with older people is very important. And people who have hearing loss will automatically start to withdraw from connection. And then they are no, what's the statistic? 200 to 5,000% more likely to create dementia or other cognitive problems. Oh, connection is so important. Conversations are important. And might you have any coping skills for chronic post-traumatic stress disorder for people of color age 60 years? Validate cultural experiences. Do not ever deny anybody that they are experiencing any of the isms, ageism, racism, sexism. Access community sensitive support and therapy, and that means sensitive in big capitals. Validate cultural experiences, challenging. So, oh, repeated, always make a mistake. Okay, take the best idea from today, and I want to give you a bonus as we are rounding up here. Oh my goodness. Please consider getting a hold of Return to Center. It's less than $10 on Amazon. And I hope you've seen the worth of it. And there's much more, many, many, many more ideas and strategies and tips to help you return to center and better manage distress, anger, depression, anxiety, and disconnection. Okay? And that's it. If you want to stay online, I will stay here and have a little chat and everybody else. Can you just close down Facebook, Manisha, or whatever it is you do,
Yeah,
please?
yes. I'll just say the closing prayer and then I'll close the Facebook.
Okay, thank you.
No notavinan semanto savehiminan wichihinan mina kanaweminan anuj kagesigak nianan kitawasimisak napewak napesasak isquesak equa kahakio kotagak aisiniwak ota askihek kita damihinan hi. Thank you, Miss Patricia. Thank you to all the learners. And we have another session next month, and watch out for it.